So welcome to this new video with the fly-by-wire A320 from the famous Klagenfurt to Cologne, also in Germany, by Eurowings, a real flight. So we have already connected the stairs, and as you are going to see, let's enter the cockpit. The passengers have already disembarked because it's the turnaround from the previous flight from from Hamburg. So let me a couple of minutes to do the turnaround checks, but let's first invite our guests, the passengers, to start the boarding. But first, I think I have to reload SimBrief, reload the passengers. Yeah, perfect, and also restart the universal announcement mode, which I highly recommend. So request boarding
requested.
Okay, and what else? The fuel, which is so let's also request the refueling. Request refueling. Perfect. So request refueling. Thank you. Okay. Service in progress. Complete now. No. Let's close this. Easier for everyone. So I'm going to do all the checks, all the configurations to be ready for departure in more or less 20 minutes. Should be the ideal time. So the ground personnel has just advised me that the refueling truck is on position, but I don't see anything. And I've already completed the MCDU. So today performance will be first things first, the flight plan. Well, the init page, sorry. So we are departing from Klagenfurt to Cologne. The alternative will be Frankfurt, and flight number will be Eurowings 257, the same as the previous one. The cost index is now 15, and the cruising flight level is 380. Let's insert it here. 380. Perfect. The wind interceptors have been also completed, and the IRS is fully aligned, as we haven't touched it since the first alignment in Hamburg. If you are doing long-haul flights crossing the oceanic, a fully realignment of the IRSs are mandatory. But if you are doing whole short flights between same state or between Europe, I think it's depending on the company every 3 or 4 sectors. And what you have to check, it's here in progression. the accuracy estimated and the required. So the required is 1 nautical mile and the accuracy is 1.04 nautical miles. So it's okay for us today to don't do a fully realignment of the irises. Have I explained myself? So then in the flight plan we are departing from runway 28 right, and the wings continue to be variable at 4 knots, and we are using the Villa to Romeo departure. So then in Cologne we are using the AirNav runway 06 via the arrival Gulk 1 kilo, and that would be our flight today. Then we are carrying, as we have already said, look, they are refilling us now, so 4.6 tons of block fuel. The zero fuel weight is 53.5 and the CG is 31.7. The taxi is standard. Today we are not using the 5%, we are using, as the previous flight, the 5 minutes contingency. The alternative is 1 ton, 1000 kilos, and the rest is the same as every flight because it's mandatory 30 minutes in jet aircraft. So the extra is 0.1. okay, 3 minutes, something to have in mind, but not too important. And from Hamburg to here, remember we had 10 knots of tailwind, which was positive, but we were going to the south. Now that we are going to the northwest to be exact, now we have the opposite wind, which is even worse because it's headwind 0 to 0, 20 knots of headwind, so bad. Then in the performance, the V1 and BR are the same, which are 132 knots, and the B2 is 133. The boarding has been completed, thank you, okay. The flaps is 1 and the trim is 0.7 down. The flex temperature is 71, transition altitude 10,000, and that has been completed with the operational, the mathematics, and the QNH. So we can turn, no, because refilling has not, refilling has been completed, so we can turn the APU, we can turn also the seatbelt signs, and I'm not going to do the exterior walk around because the flight has been 3 minutes ago. We can maybe disembark the airplane, go off the airplane, and see if everything seems okay. Yeah, okay. And if not, our colleague, the flight officer, would be now in charge of doing the exterior walk around, as in the previous flight I was the one in charge. And in reality, in the previous flight I was the pilot flying, and now he would be supposed to do the pilot flying role, and I would have supposed to be doing the pilot monitoring role. But as we are the only one in the cabin, everything's fine and everything is done by ourselves. So we have to trust a lot of in ourselves and do a lot of checklists because it is really easy to forget things. We are going to set the transponder to auto, and we can turn the external power, and if please GSX works, we can tell them that everything's okay, we are ready for the pushback or the straight departure, and that we dismiss of the UPU service. But as always, GSX is not working, so let's enjoy the views while waiting. We can't do anything else. Okay, additional service, team is GPU, and let's do the before start checklist up to the line while it loads. So copy operation completed, full message has been sent, gear pins and covers removed, signs on auto checked, at IRS nav checked, full quantity is full quantity is masked and balanced checked. Takeoff data is set and reviewed, and pattern reference is set in both sides checked and cross-checked. So before start checklist up to the line completed, before start checklist below the line, come on GSX, windows and doors closed. Oh, okay, prepare for pushback and departure. Yeah, here we go, perfect. Boarding departure. Okay, yeah, good. So, before start checklist below the line, windows and doors closed and locked checked. Let's lock the cockpit door. Beacon lights are unchecked, I just turned it off. Thrust levers are idle checked. Parking brake is as required, and mobile phones must be turned off for the flight. So before start checklist below the line completed. The stairs have already disconnected. So no pushback man, no pushback track. So I suppose it's a straight departure. So let's commence the engine start with the engine start number 1. Okay, engine number 1 available, starting engine number 2. Let's put flaps 1, armed the spoilers, and say bye-bye to Klagenfurt Airport. I love it. I love the name. It's going to be my joke, my joke for the next days. So let's do the flight control test. Although we know we should wait to the second start to fully start, but okay, full down, full up, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, rather full left, rather full right. Remember, we should disconnect it, but here it doesn't work in fly-by-wire. So flight control test done. Let's put the trim in 0.7 down. 0.7. There we go. And radar trim is 0 checked. Perfect. And the engine number 2 has fully started. So engine mode selector as normal. APU can be turned off along with the APU bleed, and the runway turn off lights on. No taxi, no one in the left, no one in the right, no one in the front. Parking brake released, and we can taxi to the holding point of the runway to right, which is the same point as the runway 06, because we will be doing I don't know how it's called now. So here we have the Charlie holding point of runway 28 right and 10 left. Because yeah, the word I was thinking is the backtrack. We are going to make a backtrack at the end of the runway 01 left, which means the beginning of the runway 08 right. No airplane here. The first officer has confirmed no airplane there, and we would have the approval of the authorization, the clearance of the ATC to make the backtrack. Let's turn on all the landing lights, the strobe lights, the wing lights, as we are already in the runway, and let's prepare let's prepare the airplane for the takeoff to minimize the time we are occupying the runway. Or even this airport is not the busiest one, and I think it would not be a problem to stay a little bit here, but it's best to be as early as possible in the air. So at brakes in maximum, takeoff config is normal, and the cabin crew advised. Then we can turn on the predict wind shear, the weather radar, and the TCAS in Tara mode and transponder in Sierra mode. So yeah, we have also to do the after start checklist, anti-ice as required, ECAM status checked, which is normal, checked, pitch trim set to take position, and rudder trim 0 checked. So after start checklist completed. This checklist should have been done just after start, but it's okay. So before takeoff checklist, below, up to the line, flight controls checked, flight instruments checked, briefing is confirmed, flap setting is config 1 plus F checked, B1, BR, B2 and flight temperature are showing checked, ATC is set, and ECAM memo takeoff no blue checked. So before takeoff checklist up to the line completed. The lineup runway is lineup runway checklist. Takeoff runway is confirmed, which is the 28 left. The cabin crew is advised. TCAS is in Terra mode checked, and engine mode selector is as required. Packs can be turned off from packs of departure. Perfect. 20 seconds have to pass since the packs have been turned off, and let's slow down to make the turn, following more or less the yellow line. Okay, 20 seconds. Are you ready for takeoff once we complete the turn? Yeah? Okay, perfect. So more or less aligned with the 28 right. Takeoff. Manual flex 71 is rest runway at thrust blue. B1, rotate. Positive climb gear up. Thrust climb, thrust engaged. Pilot 1, climb. We can disarm these speed brakes, packs 1 on, and runway turn off lights off, nose lights off. Okay, pack 2 on. And speed, flaps 0, speed checked. Flaps 0, flaps retracted. If I haven't reset the timer, but let's put it, and let's add more or less 3 minutes. Okay, transition altitude, which is 10,000 feet, and landing lights can go off, and I think seatbelt signs are going to stay on for a couple of minutes until we pass all the Alps, which is a very turbulent zone due to the orographic conversion, and yeah, basically the orographic, which means mountains. So we've just reached the top of descent, so we are gonna start our initial descent to our destination, Cologne, where we are supposed to start our 3-degree glide path angle, because it's not it's an air-nav approach, it's not an ILS, at 3,000 feet. So descend, there we go, 3,000 feet. Perfect. We are just flying over, if I put here the airports, you will see we are just flying over Frankfurt, so which is our alternate. So we are gonna start preparing the final approach page in the MCDU. So 132, 132, 130, 130. That is the correct ATIS frequency.
Adenauer Airport Information Kilo 1400 Super. Wind 065 at 4. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, 4,800 scattered. Few clouds at 13,700. Temperature, 21. Dew point, 6. QNH 1016. Visual runway, 14 left, and visual runway, 14 right in use. Landing and departing runway, 14 left, and runway, 14 right. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back. Hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have Kilo.
So we've just listened to the ATIS, and something very bad is that the current runway in use is the 1 for right and 1 for left, and we are preparing the approach for 1-3 left. So let me see if I can quickly change it, if time permits us to change. If not, we will land in 06. So first of all, we are in clouds, but the temperature is plus 11. Then with the runway change situation, we are not able to change runway, not because of procedures, because I found how to do it, but it's because I don't know why in the database of the MCDU the AirNav or the ILS localizer, whatever approach for runway 4 left or 4 right is not available, is not here, it's not entered. So we are gonna stay with our planned approach, and that's all. We can do nothing. We can't do anything. Yeah. And look the meter in our departure airport, where now there are thunderstorm rain and 4,000 of visibility. So we have departed just in the right time. So transition altitude, which was 5,000, and the QNH, which was 10, which is 1016. Okay, here we go, 1016. Perfect. We can turn on the runway turn off lights. Wow, the seatbelt signs were turned off. And let's continue with the descent. I don't know why it has automatically changed to VS, vertical speed. And let's start decelerating. Look the effect of the cloud, which here it completely shadows the ground from the sun, and here there's the sun coming through the space between the clouds, so we can see the paths of the clouds. So flaps 1, speed checked, flaps 1. For today landing, I've calculated that a medium autobrake setting is okay, both because of the length of the runway and because of the exit taxiway I would like to go through. The actual landing distance is 5,940 feet, and the factor landing distance is 7,413 feet, and the margin is 654 feet. Here in Versa, we are gonna start our descent of flight path angle flight path angle 3 degrees. So let's prepare it. Perfect. And we are gonna go for flaps 2, set speed brakes, and here everything is okay. Okay, Versa, so starting the flight path angle of 3 degrees and following the green dot, we are perfectly on the lateral deviation square, which is like the localizer, but this is working with the satellites.
2,500.
Okay, and the thank you, and the current altitude, which is 4,000. Let's try to see the puppies. 2 white and 2 red. Perfect. Let's go for flaps 3. Flaps 3, speed checked. Flaps 3. Okay, cabin crew, prepare for landing. If you see me clicking like a crazy man a lot of times this button, is because sometimes, I don't know, it doesn't detect it, so I have to go over, click, go down, and it's a little bit annoying. Okay, landing gear down. Let's help the airplane to decelerate a little bit. We continue to have 2 white and 2 red. And flaps full, speed checked, flaps full. Let's quickly do the approach checklist, which we haven't done, but it's basically briefing confirmed, ECAM status checked, landing distance confirmed, seatbelt sign is unchecked, battle reference is set in both sides, minimum decision altitude is set, and engine mode selector is as required, checked. So approach checklist completed. Landing checklist, cabin cruise advice checked, auto thrust is set, auto brakes is as required, and ECA memo, landing no blue checked. So landing checklist completed. Perfect. We are stabilized and ready for landing. We are 3 white and 1 red, so we are a little bit above the glide slope. So let's disconnect it. Let's disconnect the autopilot and manually search 2 white and 2 red by pitching down, but just a little bit to regain the glide slope progressively. We don't want to get below. Continue.
$50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Okay, very good landing. Just a little bit late, but good. Smooth, very smooth. Okay, reverse green, diesel. And manual brakes off. Sorry, auto brakes off, manual brakes. That yellow light advised me that the auto brakes have been disconnected. So constraints off, flight director off, we are not needing it anymore, and that's our exit taxiway. Okay, well, we taxi to the end of the terminal, which is right there for our stand number 12 today. Let's turn off the landing lights, the strobe lights, the nose and takeoff, the runway turn off lights goes off, the wing lights off, and turn on the APU. Perfect. Then let's retract the flaps, the spoilers. Let's turn off the predict windshield and weather radar, the transponder to the auto mode, Charlie mode, and tada, off standby. So after landing checklist, flaps retracted, spoilers disarmed, APU start, radar off standby, predict windshield off when engine taxi arrival is not conceived for today, and pack 2 as required checked. So after landing checklist completed. There we have our stands, so let's turn off the engine master number 2, turn on the APU bleed, and locate our stand, which is the D11 and D12, that one, in front of the Cologne airport. We can turn off the nose taxi light, and we are very good. We have done a very good alignment with the stand. I don't know if in the time lapse the fast camera of the taxi it will be noticeable, but it has been a very bumpy taxi because the airport is very bad replicated in MFS24, and the terrain is not the best one. Okay, yeah, perfectly stopped, and we can set the parking brake, we can turn off the engine master number 1 to shut down completely the engines. The transponder goes off, the seatbelt signs goes off, and if GSX permits, we can request the GPU to be able to connect to the external power and turn off the APU, and request deporting. There we go, perfect. Payload page to monitor the deporting, and that would be our flight of today. Let's do the parking checklist. Well, first of all, let's turn the fuel pumps. We are not going to do a turn around, so another flight. So the IRS goes off, external power on, APU bleed off, and cruise supply off. So parking checklist: electrical pump off, checked, APU bleed as required, checked, engines 1 and 2 off, checked, seatbelt signs as required, checked, exterior lights as required, checked, seatbelt signs off, fuel pumps as off, checked, and parking brake and chocks as required, checked. Company mobiles can be turned on. So parking checklist completed. Perfect. So that's been today's flight with Eurowing, and I hope you have enjoyed the flight and the procedures. So welcome to Cologne, Germany, and see you in the next flight.